Australians are obsessed with sport. Man against the elements, team against team, machine against machine. But what happens when critical mass is met? Can Rugby League star Matt Rogers do the one thing in the game that his father, legend Steve, couldn't do?
I hate being remembered for walking out of a doctor's surgery, not walking off a football field.
Broken thumb leaves Leroy Jetta with his hands full.
Scale of 1 to 10, how Larry's been helping out, it'd probably be around about a 3.
And big man Roy Asatasi is an absolute handful on the operating table.
Too much muscle.
This is the human face of professional sports injury. This is damage control.
Rogers!
Football flows in Matt Rogers' veins. He played rugby league and rugby union for Australia. His late father, Steve, was a legend. At 34, Matt's close to retirement, and he carries a personal demon that he'll be forced to retire from the game the way his father did.
Rogers stands him up.
Steve Rogers played for Australia, one of the most admired players of his era, back in a time when they didn't muck around.
When my dad retired, he retired through injury, and I remember one thing he said to me, he said, I hate being remembered for walking out of a doctor's surgery, not walking off a football field, and that would be shattering if that was the case for me.
That fear is about to be realised. As Matt extends his leg to control the ball, the other player lands with his full weight on Matt's knee. Ligaments are designed to hold the knee in place. They provide stability and control movement. Snap any one of them, and the pain is excruciating.
Great concern for Matt Rogers.
This is high drama.
If ever there was a potential career ender, this is it.
Can you bend it?
What's it done?
It's broken your medial ligament.
So is this the end Matt Rogers has always feared? The Australian A-League, different sport, but an uncannily similar knee scenario. Melbourne defender Matt Kemp. The Victory are just 2 games away from a grand final. Matt's already had 1 game for the Socceroos, the Australian national team, but his big dream is a regular spot.
Like every kid, when I was growing up, I always go around telling people I was going to play for Australia one day.
The 29-year-old is out to impress every game.
Melbourne season, 6 wins, 4 draws.
Just 1 minute into the game, Kemp's going to push his body out of contention and turn a simple task like running into the most important challenge of his life.
Oh dear. That looks painful.
Like Matt Rogers, it's a knee and it looks serious.
It's the last thing that Ernie Merrick would want to see in the opening moments.
Kemp's knee bore his entire weight as he twisted to gain control of the ball. He's taken off the field under the watchful eye of Victory doctor Anik Shorten. His game is over.
Oh.
Can you straighten it or not? It's yourself.
No, it's all right.
Put it on my knee.
It's okay.
Matt pleads for a minor miracle,
Can it come out like that and not damage anything?
but Dr. Shorten leaves him with no doubt.
Yeah.
Like Matt Rogers in Rugby League, if it's surgery, then it means season over. AFL club Essendon, Preseason, a time for young players to step up and impress selectors. Among them, fiery midfielder Leroy Jetta. Leroy's beginning the final year of his 4-year Essendon contract. But last season was very ordinary.
He's in the last year of his contract. He's been up 4 years. He's a young player we think has got a lot of talent, but it is a crucial year for him.
If he's going to impress, now is the time. In the next 3 seconds, Jetta's hopes and dreams will be shattered. Even in trials, the chance of injury is ever present. Leroy's head takes a pounding. At full tilt, he slams into his opponent and then into the rock-hard ground. Leroy joins the wounded in the medical tent. The knocks cause short-term memory loss, But through the fog, he also realises his thumb is throbbing.
Well, he's concussed and he's also got a dislocated base of thumb. So it's the thumb definitely means he's finished.
Finished. Not what you want to hear when you're playing to impress.
He is smashed by Roy Asatasi.
In NRL, front rows are the man mountains tasked to intimidate.
You don't tackle around the legs, mate. You get him up around the breadbasket. Kabang! Finch has taken down.
Roy Asatasi is regarded as one of the hardest men in the game. He's also the South Sydney captain and once captained his country, New Zealand.
Asatasi, strong run. Still going, Roy Asatasi.
He knows the brutal reality of playing front row. Game after game, they stitch him up and send him back out.
There's nothing you can do about it. That's part of being a professional sportsman. In any game, you can't guarantee that you'll be injury-free all season.
South Sydney versus the Roosters. It's the second last game of the season. The finals are yet to come. And for Asatasi, the Rugby League World Cup is looming. He will have the great honour of leading his country, New Zealand, on the world stage. But then this. Tackled. The weight of the other player tears Roy's chest muscle, the pectoralis major, clean away from the bone. This is serious damage to a major muscle, and all at the very worst possible time. The pain has Roy pinned to the bench. No doubt he's tough, but will this be the final blow for the big man? Matt Rogers fears his career will end in injury, just like his father's.
And I thought, that's it, it's all over.
And this is how my career ends.
Starting the scans now.
An MRI will reveal the damage. If he needs surgery, at 34, he can't afford the extended recovery time. The MRI suggests Matt's torn the medial ligament entirely off the bone.
Okay. No, we'll play it by ear.
Back at the club, Titans team doctor Paul Omson refuses to take surgery as a given. The doctor knows that for a man who has had his left ankle rebuilt, had 4 knee arthroscopes, groin surgery, screws and a plate in his right hand, discs C5 and C6 replaced, busted his sternum, had both shoulders reconstructed, a broken cheekbone, and has broken his nose 6 times, one more round of surgery is nothing. However, this time, it could mean the end of his career.
You can still see you've got some fibres intact. They can be trashed like that at the top and still, you treat them non-operatively. See that?
Yeah.
Treat non-operatively. Paul Omson hopes some good old-fashioned pushing and prodding will tell him more than the MRI. If he can feel one last piece of ligament still attached, then Matt's knee could heal itself. If he's lucky, in around 6 weeks, the ligament will actually regrow. Surgery will certainly end his season and his career. There's really no choice.
I'll just leave it the way we are, mate.
Melbourne Victory's Matt Kemp buckles just minutes into a game. Watch the right knee.
You saw his right knee collapse into him.
Scans reveal a snapped anterior cruciate ligament, a key stabiliser in the knee.
If I wasn't going to be an athlete, I could have left it. I could have got through the rest of my life without an ACL. Yeah, get the right leg, very important.
One final kiss from wife Stephanie, and off to the theatre. Unlike Matt Rogers, Matt Kemp's ligament is completely torn. It won't regrow. Surgeons will have to replace it. Incredibly, Matt's own body provides the spare parts. They harvest a piece of one of his hamstrings.
Nice big graft. Good. Always a good start.
The removed hamstring will be remodeled into a ligament to replace the torn ACL in Matt's knee. It is a common operation, but there are no guarantees.
I'm just drilling one of the tunnels in the tibia bone. You've got to drill tunnels in the bone to get the graft into the knee. And those tunnels start and finish where the old anterior cruciate was.
1 hour is all it takes. He'll be sore for a few days and then begin the task of rebuilding his broken body. That will take months. Leroy Jetta is at home with his damaged thumb. He will have scans in the morning. Meanwhile, he has his hands full with twins.
Did you want to change him?
Yep.
Leroy goes to the interchange bench.
No, I can't. Still a bit sore.
He's not comfortable.
I had the babies about 2 weeks ago, so scale of 1 to 10, how Larry's been helping out would probably be, around about a 3.
Leroy is the family breadwinner, and he's in the last year of his contract. Time out of the game means he not only misses match payments, it also gives someone else a chance to take his place. In AFL, ball possession is everything. Catching, taking marks, the difference between a good player and a great player. The thumb is vital. Back at Windy Hill, Essendon's headquarters, the team doctors meet.
Leroy should be all right with his splinter on.
Leroy, I'm waiting for a call from Greg Hoy to see.
Essendon medico of 29 years, Dr. Bruce Reid, decides to send him straight to surgeon Greg Hoy.
Don't be late, he's coming in his lunch hour to see you.
So 12:30 tomorrow?
You'll need someone to drive you home, or a taxi. You'll get a taxi voucher, because remember your wife's not going to pick you up with the twins.
Yep.
Greg Hoy is another doctor who believes that old-fashioned prodding is a good way to assess the damage.
Sorry. Tell me before you hit me, won't you? Just push it up against me. It's just dislocated. Put it back in, push it out, dislocated. So that's not the way it's supposed to be.
A simple dislocation? Or is it something worse? Roy Asatasi in agony. Even before he's left the dressing room, he knows his season is over, and his chances of leading his country in just 2 months' time are slim. Scans have revealed the worst. If surgery isn't performed within days, the pectoral muscle can deform and lose power, not an option for a front row forward. For a serious operation, it's all very relaxed.
Giorgio Armani gown. Thanks, George.
A quick kiss from his wife, and then he's off to theatre, where surgeon Danny Biggs is in for a surprise.
Too much muscle.
Injury and recovery, they're part of all sports. Unlike Leroy Jetta dodging nappy duty, Matt Rogers, it seems, is able to turn injury to advantage, at least according to his wife, Chloe Maxwell.
Yeah, whinge. You know, it's my medial ligament. If it's not that, it's my cracked ribs. If it's not that, it's his pinky. Have you seen his pinky?
I broke my pinky.
That is the wrongest looking thing you've ever seen. I'm sick of it. Any excuse not to do the washing up.
Please. She's only joking. I don't whinge that much.
All jokes aside, Matt Rogers seems to have dodged a bullet. He's 34, and he's hoping that the old school medicine of Paul Omson will save his career.
Let's have a look. Does it give you pain at the end of that?
Without surgery, the hope is that Rogers' medial ligament will regrow and get him back in just 8 weeks. The first question is, will it hold up to the intensity of training? Surprisingly, knee ligaments aren't that strong. Most of the forces are absorbed by the muscles and bone, but no ligament means no stability. The grind of rehab begins.
2 weeks ago, I literally couldn't see myself playing again, so it definitely gives me a bit of hope.
So far, so good, but always in the back of his mind, his dad's career, cut short by injury. Matt's been put back together many times before, but will it work one last time? Leroy Jeter's pre-season injury is not looking good.
So that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Dr. Greg Hoy has an unusual solution. Leroy's hands are his livelihood, and it's not just his thumb that's broken. Leroy's collision pulled the tendons and then broke the thumb at its base.
So we found a rupture on the tendon and the capsule as it goes into the back of the bone here. I'm going to reattach that onto the back of the joint.
Hoy repairs the tendon and bone.
There's a tiny little fragment of cartilage with a very tiny fragment of bone attached to it. And that fragment's too small to hold the screw, so I've taken it out because it's just going to get caught in the joint and cause damage.
Instead of plastering the hand, 2 Kirschner wires are used. They've been around for 100 years. They'll create an internal splint. They will bend, but they're fragile, and Leroy will have to be careful. Remarkably, these wires are usually left poking out of the wound so they can be easily removed. With Leroy, they tuck the ends into the skin. They know he'll want to use his hands and can't risk getting the wound infected.
Leroy's going to be not very popular at home because he won't be able to pick up children for a period of time, but he won't be able to do ball handling skills until these wires come out. So I'll be doing everything I can to hold him back.
That's wishful thinking from the doc. Leroy has other ideas.
Well, I'll speak to the doc tomorrow and see, probably a couple of days off my feet and then back into training, hopefully next week.
Will Leroy's determination to get his career back on track be his undoing? In the operating theatre, the team work around Roy's prized tattoo. Surgeon Danny Biggs will take the torn pec tendon and stitch it back to the bone. Normally a straightforward job, but not in a rugby league front rower.
Too much muscle.
Asatasi is such a big man, his pec muscle has expanded well beyond normal size, making the tendon that holds it to the bone no bigger than a fingernail, barely enough to stitch back.
Nice hard bunny bone, sister.
Lucky, because they need 2 anchors in the bone to reattach Roy's muscle.
The surgery was quite unusual, the amount of muscle mass that he had.
What is also unusual is the doc's sense of theatre. Danny Biggs is a big league fan, and as he stitches the wound, the South's team song fills the room.
I think it's time for the song, please.
So after the all-singing surgery, Roy faces 6 long months of rehab. At Essendon, Leroy just can't help himself. A busted thumb and he's out catching balls. And he can't play until the pins are taken out of his hand.
Leroy. G'day.
Surgeon Hoy had warned Leroy not to overuse the thumb for fear of breaking the wires.
Spinning a bit because it's reasonably loose.
The first wire comes out easily.
Second one to come.
But then the second wire is removed.
I'm just a little concerned about how short that is because it may be there's a tiny bit of wire that's left in one of the bones inside.
Leroy is sent for an urgent x-ray. If the lost wire segment is stuck in the joint, he'll have to go under the knife again. Every delay is potentially costing Leroy and his family his career.
Did you have a look?
No.
Leroy keeps his distance. Maybe he's expecting bad news.
You can see the anchor lying in here. You see that bit of remnant of wire, and it's under the bone, so it's not in the joint. That's an unusual thing. I've seen probably 1 or 2 wires break in the last 15 years of practice, but of course this would happen with Leroy. So we'll keep an eye on that to make sure it doesn't cause any troubles in the rest of the joints in the wrist. Okay. If it does, then we'll have to take it out later.
Under the bone, not in the joint. So, Leroy's back in business. After 7 weeks out, he needs to show something special.
There's Jeter. Worked him under the ball, soccer off the ground by Jeter.
Even pulling off the goal of the round.
Miracle goal, Leroy Jeter.
Matt Kemp.
Oh dear.
An agonising end to a season. His own hamstring is refashioned into a new ligament. And after 3 months of physio and weights to strengthen the leg, he still can't play top-level football.
I'm getting back to where I was and building the muscle back up because it just wastes away. It's amazing how much strength I've lost, but I'll get it all back.
That will take another 3 months.
I'm back, mate. You're back. Tell Ernie I'm ready for tomorrow night.
And who knows, he may yet get to play another game for Australia. In the recovery room, Roy Asatasi knows that time will heal his pectoral muscle. But he also knows that he may never get another chance to captain a World Cup winning team.
I was looking forward to leading the Kiwis out, and that's not going to happen.
Tonight's the night. After 8 weeks of rehab, Matt Rogers is back.
There's not a whole lot more injuries that he can sustain that he hasn't already sustained.
That's just, it's just about playing footy again.
But will the knee hold up?
Left side, build towards Minicello. He's the decoy. It's gone forward. There's Rogers.
It seems that Doc Ohmson has made the right call. For the rest of the season, Rogers and the Titans head towards the premiership.
Matt Rogers, the man.
The Titans lost in the semi-finals. Matt Rogers always wanted to leave on his own terms, to do his father proud, to walk off.
It's been a great ride, and I'll still be around.
I am my brother's keeper.